Okay, we're gonna be here we go. We're gonna be doing, basically all of this. I did the same for. This is extremely annoying, but I did the same for 5, 6, and 7. So I guess I'll be doing the same for 8x8 as well. We're gonna be trying to fill up the gallery. And then we can probably move on to this when we eventually do that. But these puzzles are going to either be like easy pieces of cake, or they're gonna just be the hardest things I've ever done. But that's okay. Welcome to challenge. What is this? Oh, snake eyesight. All right. What? Wow. Okay. We're starting off with a interesting deduction here. This 7, if this was a mine, we have to see 7 cells making this a mine. I believe this probably means something to do with parity. If we had all of these, if this and these were mines, they would be the ends of the snake. The idea for snake is that you see there's a minecart remaining, correct? Between any 2 points, you take any path and you see how many mines that uses up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, correct? If it uses up an odd number of mines, then any other path between these 2 points will also use an odd number of mines. And same for even. I don't know why, but if you want to think about it, you can think like extending your snake, it will always add an even number of mines to it. And so if one path takes an odd number, then any other path you try will always take an odd number. But obviously, since here we have 26 mines remaining, that's not possible. So you can't have a path with 9 mines, because any other path will have an odd number of mines. Also, I should have explained to you, the 7 basically means how many empty cells it sees in the 4 directions around it. But essentially what that means is that this can't be a mine, otherwise you have a parity issue. 8. The maximum this can see horizontally is 7, implying that at the very least 8 must see 1 more. Oh yes, and the same thing can happen here, I think. If there were a mine here, then I think the same thing with a mine here would imply, this path uses an odd number of mines, so this can't be a mine either. 7, 7. If these 2 numbers are the same number, then clearly they see the same number of cells vertically because they're in the same column. Therefore, they would see the same number of cells horizontally as well, so this is also empty. I was wondering, if this were a mine, then because 7s each see this whatever, they must see, they must be like this, basically, is what I'm saying. Therefore this 8 has to see 1 extra. Yeah, doesn't the 8 always have to see 1 extra? Yeah, the 8 always has to see 1 extra, so there's 1 extra here. 6. I think 6 and 8 seem fairly interesting because one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This can't be a mine now. If it was, then the 8 must extend out, and then this 6 would be complete, but this 7 must extend out as well, and this 6 would be broken. Okay, is it the same for this? Yeah, it's the same for this, right? No, is it? Because if this were a mine, then for the 8 to C8, it would need these and these to be empty. For the 7 to C7, this has to be empty, but I think that is barely enough for the 6. Or that is exactly the amount of cells needed for the 6. Ah, no, right. This has to be empty as well, because these both see the same number of horizontal. 12! That is a big number. I'm hydrating myself. This 12 is seeing a 7. Basically what that means is that at maximum it can see 7 mines here, meaning it must see 5 more in the vertical, which means that at the very least I think these are all empty. Nice, and we reach a 10. I don't think this 10 has much to offer though. Looks basically the same as 12. We see that. Okay, this is very funny because I'm not using snake at all except for the first deduction. This is all eyesight, and these are huge numbers that I don't think I've ever dealt with before, even in just regular E. What it looks to me is, in fact, the snake does seem to want to do something like this. Yes, alright. We have to figure out here, I think snake is a useful deduction because how many does it have to be? There has to be a mine here, right? If there wasn't, these 7s would be clearly broken. But there must also be mines in this column, otherwise the 7 will be clearly broken. What that means is that there are mines here and there are mines here, which do have to connect to each other from a snake. And that means that somewhere in here there has to be a mine. Now, at the very most, you can have this. However, the 12 here only sees what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In which case it was going to see 2 more. And then obviously if it were like this, it would need to see like 3 more. So in all cases, these are both empty. Because these 2 must see an equal number, then these are both empty as well. I think this also means the 7s are complete. They are. Because of snake, very easy deduction, this must be a mine. I think this 8 is also complete though, forcing this 6 to put empties here and here. The 12 can just be complete. It has to be like this. And we know there has to be a mine here because of snake. That was how our main deduction worked. This now can't be a mine because of snake. Doesn't help. Oh, because of snake. I keep saying because of snake. These are both mines. Not helpful either. I think we look at this 10 next. The 10 sees 7 so far, so it must see 3 more. However, because there's a snake here, because of snake, then I think these must both be empty. The idea is that this snake must reach out to here, but it is not only something like this that has to be a threshold. Even, yeah, you know that looks obviously impossible. But this has to be a mine at the very least. Right? It's either this being a mine and this is empty, or this is a mine. In both cases, we know then these 2 are empty. Okay, again, not helpful. Can this be a mine? Yeah, it can. It can do something like this. Some funny stuff. Or, you know, I could just do this. I think at this point there aren't a lot of cells that are completely exempt from this thing. Well, we do know there has to be 1 mine here, right? So that this can connect to here by snake. But obviously this is possible, but then so is this. So it doesn't really give us that much of an edge here. Oh, I see. This can't be a mine, because if it was, you'd have 1 dead end here, 1 dead end here, because this is empty now, and 1 dead end here. That's 3 dead ends which a snake cannot have. so this can't be a mine. Again, not helpful. But at least we have the multiple dead ends. This must be a mine, the snake can extend out, so these are both empty. This must extend out. And we now know none of these can be mines, because if they were, then this couldn't like loop outwards. Snakes cannot touch themselves. So these can't be mines. Oh, 7 is helpful. I think 7 is complete. That's good. This now can't be a mine, and this must extend out, finishing the 10. This must extend out to here, and the snake must basically come out here. Now we know that this snake can't go down, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to, you know, somehow connect to this one. So this basically has to take a straight path over. We have 4 mines remaining, so you can't just finish the snake like this. So these have to extend out. We do know that this path to this path requires an odd number of mines, which means that this has to be a mine, because the total mine count was even. So they have to have an extra mine elsewhere, and obviously only 1 mine left implies that. Cool, I like that one. Dude, snake puzzles are always so cool. The idea that snakes must connect, I don't know, but look at that. Look at the number of clues we have. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 clues, which is an astoundingly small number. I don't know, I'm just gonna keep like rambling over and over again. Alright. We'll do another one. Hopefully, yeah. We're going along some weird pattern. We did SE just now, so I'm expecting the next one to be like a QW, or maybe a BM. Yeah, a BM looks like it's the next one that comes up. Let's see. Ah, it is a BM, or MB, whatever. It's basically the exact same thing. Alright, let's look at that, I guess. Alright. So, multiple means that in each cell, you can see some cells are shaded. These shaded or colored cells, or gray cells or dark cells, however I call them, they are worth 2 mines, so mine here is counted as 2. But the final mine count isn't like part of it. Anyway, the next one is balance, which means that every row and every column must have the same number of mines. Initial deduction is that because there are 24, oh, I can't erase that. I can. Because there are 24 mines and there are 8 columns and 8 rows, you then know that each row must have 3 mines. So those are the rules. We can start with this 4. All of these must be mines. This is counted as 2, so the total number of mines is quote-unquote 4. This 2 now over here may not be like this, because then row 7, you can see it's marked out here, row 7 will have 4 mines, which we know is not possible, must have 3 exactly. So it must be one of these. Yes, one of these. Oh, that just means that these are both empty. Yeah, sorry. Brain was not braining. Another idea that we want to think about is something I like to call set theory, or set equivalence theory. Essentially, you can figure out the total number of mines in a set of columns, right? And this allows you to do some like really cool things. For example, if you know like this has like 4 mines and then this has 5 mines, for example, then because you know rows 1 to 3 have a total of 9 mines in them, you can safely say that all of these are empty. That's like just a very simple application of set equivalence theory. Anyway, back to this. 8 sees 3 so far, so it needs to see 5 more. Now we know that there is a maximum of 1 here, and therefore, yeah, there has to be exactly 1 here, because if there were none here, you see the remaining cells add up to 4, which is not enough. We need 5, so there has to be exactly 1 mine here, after which these would add to 5, so we then need 3 more, meaning that this has to be a mine. There has to be 1 mine here, and since one of the mines is here, then this is not a mine. Because of 3 being an odd number, you need a 1 to make sure the entire sum is odd. You now know there's 1 mine here, which then completes row 7. a 4. Okay, balance and multiple have rules in a very interesting manner because, let's see, the total number of mines here is 9, correct? But what is the total value considering each of these here? Well, we have no idea because mines could be on a 1 tile or a 2 tile. So I don't think that trick would be as useful here. We do know there's 1 mine here though. We therefore know that there can only be a maximum of 1 here and a maximum of 1 here because of rows 6 and 8. But those could very easily help us finish our goal of 4, so we don't have to prove anything. Yeah. Well, what we do know is that we do need another 1 to make sure 4 is even. And those ones can only be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't say anything about that. But after you place one of the mines here, you would then need a 2, right? Which would, be in one of these cells. Alright, let's say that there are no mines here. Let's say. Then this must be a mine. And this must be a mine because now this is empty. That's the only way to make 4. This is also empty. What does that mean? Then it breaks because now this must be a mine. And look at row 8. There are 4 mines in there. So what that means is that our original assumption, this has no mines, is contradicted, which means that there is a mine here. And that would then instead finish row 6. So these are both empty. 4 is useful. It already sees 3, so this can't be a mine. Another 4 here. We do know because of this 4 that there is 1 mine here. That then combined with this adds up to 3 and therefore again cannot have extra 2s. This one is even simpler. It can't have a 2 at all. We do know there's 1 mine here. I'm not sure how that would help. Maybe it does help with columns A, B, and C. I'm not exactly sure though. We know these can't both be empty. Wait a minute, okay. Yeah. This is say there was a mine here, then because there can't be a mine here due to the 1, there must then be a mine here due to this 4, which then puts 4 mines in column B. Alright, that was a simple contradiction, meaning that this can't be a mine. There must now be 1 mine here, and because of row A, 1 mine here. We also know that because there was 1 mine in these 2 cells, this must be a mine. Again, not very helpful, but okay. This 5... not exactly sure. Not exactly sure. I see. This has to be a mine, because if it wasn't a mine, then you'd have this to finish your 5. That's the only way. And then column C now has 4 mines in there, which doesn't work. So again, a shorter chain of logic means that this really has to be a mine, so this can't be a mine because we know there's 1 here. Not helpful. What else do we know? No, not really. Not a lot. Alright, I see. Well, do I? Let's see, what happens if this was not a mine then? Because these 3 must now be mines due to the 5, we can do that. And I think that breaks the 4. Yes, it does break the 4. So then we know that there must be a mine here. That finishes column C. And now this 2 is resolved. This 3 sees a 1 already, so it can't see another 1. This 1 just means these are both empty, and because we know there's 1 mine here, this has to be a mine. The 4 sees 2, so it needs 2 more. Has to be like that. This 1 sees 1 here, so for the 2 to be complete, it will need to see exactly 1 more. 7. 7. 7 sees 1 so far, needs to see 6 more. Not entirely sure what I can do with that logic. Might have to do with more shenanigans, but this looks like the only place we can continue though. Hey, wait a minute, isn't this always empty? Yeah, because we know that it's either a mine here or here. I think it's better if I showed you. If there was a mine here, then obviously this is empty. But if there were no mine here, then there is a mine here. No mine here, then there has to be a mine here, which makes this empty. So this is always empty, but I don't know if that's necessary. Yeah, that doesn't help, as expected. I can see row 4 is just completable. This has to be a mine, this has to be a mine, because there's 3 mines here. Again, not sure if that helps, but I guess that gives 7 another mine to work with. Now sees 2, so it needs to see 5. Either way, it will need to see 1 more single mine cell, which then makes that 1 cell here, 1 mine here. Not helpful, but after doing so, it must then see 4. And it can't see these 2, because then that will put 4 mines in column H, which means that this is always a mine. Therefore, column F is complete. Not helpful, again. But now, because we know there's exactly 1 mine here to complete the 7, and these are both empty, now row 1 is actually complete. So there you go. This is therefore not a mine. 4, very helpful. This has to be a mine to complete, and so now we know that this is a mine, and this is not. Therefore, this is a mine. In fact, now row 5 is complete. This has to be a mine, so this isn't. Everything should be finishing now. This has to be a mine to complete column B. This is not. And in fact, column D is complete as well. This has to be a mine, and this is not. Yeah, okay. That was cool. A lot of cool little lines here. So it's a nice chain of logic. There was a lot of bifurcating in there. If you want to know, bifurcating just means like checking one of 2 states and then seeing which contradicts itself. That's bifurcating, or proof by contradiction. There's also proof by cases where you take 2 possible states of a puzzle and find which cells have both mines or both non-mines. Proof by cases. Haha. Anyway, what's next? Quad and wall. Interesting. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Okay, I can see some subtle logic with the 5. The 5 cannot have... Okay, yeah, I should probably give you the rules. Quad means that there can be no 2x2 with all non-mines in them. So every single 2x2 has to have a mine. So this must have a mine, etc, etc. Wall basically gives you a bit more information and tells you the number in it tells you like how many walls there are and the lengths of each wall. So this is basically a wall of 5, right? It has to be something like this. This is a 1 and a 4, so it has to be something like this. Subtle logic with a 5, you actually cannot have something like this, because then that will make these empty and therefore your quad is broken. which therefore means that your 5 must make this U shape. U shape. Ta-da. Yeah. I think something cool with this 1, 4, with this 1 and 1s is that your 4 cannot basically, yeah, this cannot be part of the 4 because then you have to extend in some direction, which then breaks this 1, 1. So in fact, your 4 can only barely start from here, in which case it will reach this cell, and here, in which case it will reach this cell, which means this is always a mine, huh? It is. Now, because we know that the mines around this is a U shape, as proven just now, there are only a few ways this is possible, which are this or this. And therefore, that implies that these are all mines, and this is not a mine. Nice. A 1, 1. Well, again, we know this is one of the possible states, but then the other possible state is this. And in both cases, again, proof by cases, we know there's exactly one mine here. Therefore, there is always exactly one mine here to complete this 1, 1, and that would in turn complete this one. So this is not a mine. There's 2 over here. We know one of these are mines. However, if this was a mine, that would make this a non-mine, and then this 2 is broken. So this must be a mine which must extend out, like that. This 1, 1 must have a mine here, which then completes the 5. This 4 is trivial, and this 1, 3 is complete. This 4 is, I think, similarly trivial. Not true. No, not true. But this 1, 3 is, though. 1, 1 implies this is not mine. And now the 1, 4 can be accomplished like that. No other chord yet, which I'm pretty surprised about. This 1, 1, 2 implies that this 2 cannot grow to a 3. And this 1, 1, 2 implies this 2 cannot grow to a 3. This 1, 1, 2 puts one of these as a mine, but this 1, 1 is actually a very classic chord pattern. We know there's one mine here, so this is effectively in this rectangle there's a 1. And if you watched my chord video, you'll know that it has to only be like this. Is the only way. 2, 3 means this must extend out, and this 1, 3 means it has to be like that. This 1, 3 is basically complete. 1, 1, 2, no idea actually. 2, 3, again no idea, but we do know that I think these are both mines, because if this wasn't a mine, you can't fit 2, 3 into this. And likewise, because of 2 and 3, this must be a mine because it must extend out. The 1, 1 means this is not a mine, therefore complete 1, 4. This is nothing broken yet. This must be a mine. If it was not a mine, you can't fit 1, 1, 2 into this. I think there was some weird formula for how 1, 1, 2 or how wall clues work in general. Basically, there's a very tight fit in this sort of situations because you have 3 numbers and therefore there are 2 gaps. Therefore, you take the sum of the numbers and then you add on how many gaps there are, and then this is the minimum length that you need. So since this is like a 6, then this is the minimum there is, which means that this is exactly a tight fit. So this is always a mine, which is a very stupid way of answering the questions. But basically, there is one mine here to finish off, so this is not a mine, and that means this is a mine. There we go. Nice. I just did the last part very quickly. It was all just regular wall. But yeah, that was cool, I think. It wasn't that slow, honestly. Like, unironically, or ironically maybe. Oh, did I write music by Game Chops? This music is not by Game Chops. I can change it to Game Chops if you want me to, though. I just thought Celtic music would be soothing, maybe. Ooh, pig step. Alright, here's your video game study lounge. Are there ads? There are ads. I'm so sorry. Hold on. There you go. Now the music's by Game Chops. Now what I was saying was, ironically, even though wall gives you a lot of information, there are quite a number of interesting deductions that you can make with wall that are very non-trivial. But with all that said and done, let's move on. That's why, yeah, I have a lot of problem with wall for some reason. So quad and wall. Oh, I don't like what this next one is. Yeah, negation and connector. These are horrible variants, honestly. So, what do these variants mean? Well, connector basically means all mines must be, in one clump. They can diagonally connect, that's fine. So like little islands like this cannot happen. You can't have something like this, because then this is isolated. And there are a few tricks to it. I think I did a video on that one. Negation I also did a video on, but I didn't really express the trick to do it. I don't really express the main method that we would make our deductions. Basically, this denotes the difference between the light squared mines and dark squared mines. And the main trick to do is to consider any number, the mines around it. If a mine was on a shaded cell, it's a -1. If it was on a non-shaded cell, it's a +1. I might flip the values here because the darker cell is actually the non-shaded one. So this is probably a -1 for me. And in total, if each cell denotes its number, sorry, I'm going off convention here, but basically you just add all these numbers together, you should get this value or negative of this value. That's the idea. What else is there? Yes, notation. A yellow line means that numerically they sum to 0. A red line means numerically they sum to -1. A green line means they numerically sum to 1. And a purple line, which is actually hard to see, so I'll use another color like blue, means they have to sum to 1 of some value, positive or -1, which may be helpful in certain cases. Anyway, that's connector and negation together. I see my first deduction as this 3 over here, which can only be completed like that. That is all I have. This 3 might be useful though, although I can't really say for sure. Connector and negation just don't have synergy as a combination, I think. This will result in a lot of bifurcation. Because you can't form deductions with them both at the same time. It's very unlikely. This one over here seems interesting though, because it already sees a +2. We'll take light cells as positive here. It already sees a +2. To make it a 1, it needs to see a -1 somehow. But if any of these were mines, then it would see both. Then clearly we know that it can't see both of these, because it has 4 light mines. It can't have enough dark mines to cancel out. But it could see 1 or it could see 0, and we have no idea. I think then the other thing we need to check is this 3. Maybe. No, it's just 0. I just realized, yeah, this can't be a mine. If it was a mine, then for this 0 to work, you need another mine here. But then now this can't be a mine, and then that breaks. This thing is isolated, that breaks connected. A 0 here means it just can't be a mine. A 1 over here implies this has to have a value of 1. This has a value of 0, however. Therefore, because this 1 over here requires a total of 1 across the board, this must also have a value of 0. Now this 3 sees a 1 here. Therefore, to make it a 3, it would need the rest of them to have a net value of 2. Net value of -2. No, net value of +2. Net value of +2 here. Therefore, the only way to do that is... Oh, this 1 doesn't have to be a positive. Why did I draw +1 then? Why did I draw a +1? No, it's a 1 of some value. So this is a 2 of some value as well, but it can't be a 4 to flip the sign. Because, if you had a 1 here, you could technically have like a -4 here. But that's obviously not possible in this case. Is that all there is to it? I think so. Maybe then we look at this 3. No, if this was a positive, yeah, if this was a positive 1, then this can't be a mine. But then because this has to be a positive 2, it has to be like this, which then isolates this. Oh, wow. So it has to be a negative. Oh, okay. So now this must be a negative 2, which can only be done like this now. 0 here must have another light mine to cancel out. This has to have a 1 of some value, which we again don't know. But this 1 over here sees a negative 2. So the remaining must be a positive 1. Which again, we don't know. Well, the positive 1 though tells us that this value overall has a 0 value, plus this minus. Which means that to make this 1 be correct, this must be a mine. And as we've discussed earlier, these can't both be mines, so this has to be a non-mine. Now the only way for this to become a positive 1 is like this. And because this is a 0, this is not a mine. Wow, okay. Now this 1 sees 3 light, so it must see 2 dark. Cool. This 3... Yes, this 3 sees a total of plus 1 so far. So the remainder must have a plus 2, which we can do like this. This 2 over here is basically complete, although that's not true. This is a net 0, though we don't know how that's done. This 0 must have a something here. I don't know. This 1 sees a positive 1 so far, so it must see a 0 here, or a negative 2. That's also possible, I think. This 1 sees a 0, so it must see a 1 of some sort. Oh, I see something. Therefore, because this 2 sees a 0 plus a 1, it must see a 1 again, or a negative 3 of the opposite color, which is not possible. Now, because it sees 1 here, this 0 must also see 1 here to cancel out. It can't see 0, it can't see 2, it must see 1. I think there's some parity issue. But for it to see 1, it's obviously 1 positive. And 1 positive, at least as a chain back, this is 1 positive. Therefore, this must be 1 negative. Therefore, this must be 1 negative. Actually, we also know this is 2 positive. We actually don't need those already. But 1 negative is very easy. This 0, see the 0 so far. So this is therefore now a net 0. And because this is a net 0, this is a negative. This must also be a 0. So that's not a mine. This is not a mine either. This 0 puts a mine here. And because of this 1, seeing a negative 1 so far, this can't be a mine. Therefore, this is not a mine to maintain 0. This is a 1, which therefore sees a 1 of some value. This 2 sees a negative 1, but again, we have no idea how that's completed. I think we can erase some of the lines that are hindering on the numbers a bit. Maybe we can play some trick with connected here. We know it has to be our mine here at least. There could be more than one though, but because of connection, this has to be have a mine of some sort. What else do we have? I feel like there's some trick here that I need to figure out. It has to do with connected. And that involves redrawing the lines here so that I can see clearly. Oh wow, this song is... That is Attack of the Killer Queen. It's the stupid Mr. Beast meme. Right, yeah, it's Attack of the Killer Queen. It's not bad though, the song. But what I was thinking about this is that, we suppose that this is a mine. Therefore, for it to escape, we don't actually know. It could be something like this, because then it escapes down this way. What about this being a mine? Again, we don't know because it always escape like this. So nothing about mines here would involve anything about mines here. Maybe the only thing we can do now is see how it goes. Like we just, let me erase everything. We just suppose something, like we suppose this is a mine, then no, these are both mines. But then again, that doesn't help. Although maybe here it does. You see there's a negative here, so this must be a 0. Oh, 0 doesn't help, because 0 could be anything. We then suppose that this was not a mine. I honestly have 0 idea. Or maybe we suppose this is not a mine, because that closes stuff in. If this was not a mine, then because stuff must escape through here, this must be a mine, this must be a mine, and this must be a mine. For, you know, for things to escape. Okay. Then suppose this was a mine. This one sees a negative 2 here. Therefore, it must see a positive 1 here. Therefore, this must always be a mine. And let's see if I can figure out why. If this was not a mine, for this 2 to work, it must only be like this. Therefore, for this 1 to work, it must only be like this, which then blocks it in. So yeah, we're right, this has to be a mine. This has to be empty then because of this 0, we know this is a net 0, but again, does that help? I don't know what's going on anymore. If this was empty again, because that doesn't really help the 0 over here. What? If this was empty again, then this must escape. Although we know that's pretty easy. I guess we then say, what if this was a mine? Then this would lead to this, but again, nothing obvious would happen then. I don't know, my notation is just really hard to read right now. But I can't see anything. It's just the fact that this thing can exit out here is very, very hindering, because we can't prove anything about whether this escapes or not. It could not escape for all we care. In this case, panic clicking, anything? Nothing, of course. I want to say there's probably a contradiction if these were both non-mines, but I can't really say that specifically. What? Oh my god, this is a wall. It breaks. It breaks. So what does that just mean that these are both mines? Oh my god. Yeah, what the? Okay. Yeah, these are always mines. That's so stupid, honestly. Oh, that 2 maybe gonna help. The idea is because we know this is an even number of mines, then this must have an even number of mines. Then if they had no mines, it would just, just wall us in. And that is what this mine plays a role as. Well, we could have told with the remaining mine, because there has to be some mines here in some sort. This adds up to a 0, so this must add up to a 2, which can only be done like this. 0 here requires 2 white to deal with. If this was not a mine, then this can't be a mine, forcing these to be both mines. But if this was a mine, then these are all mines to preserve 0. So in both cases, this is a mine and this is. This 1 now sees 1, so this has to be a 0, which, for God's sake, I don't know what is going on. Finally, okay, wow, I understand what this means. This pair is an even number. Zeros are always even numbers, zeros are always even numbers, zeros are always even numbers. We have an even number of mines, therefore this can't be a mine, can it? Thank you so much. That solves everything. Oh, this was single-handedly the hardest puzzle we've done so far. Oh, but it is satisfying. That was some cool logic though, to be fully honest. I think I'll pipe down for now though. We've got enough puzzles done today. How many, like 4? 4 puzzles in 40 minutes isn't that bad for 8x8. Right? Right? Alright, it's fine. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.